If I told you that washing the dishes would help you lose weight, would you believe me? Well, you should, because it did for me, just not directly. You see, washing the dishes is what I like to call a support habit. It doesn't create much movement to your objective in and of itself. However, it acts as a catalyst for change by making a different habit easier or by adding value to it. This is particularly useful when the primary behavior you're trying to cultivate is very difficult or even impossible to do consciously. So to decide what your support habit should be, you have to start with your objective and work your way backwards. Depending on how difficult this change is for you to make, you either have to go back several times or you may have to create several different support habits. So let's start with an example of weight loss. A healthy eating habit is an essential component for this. And most people would agree that eating home-cooked meals is an excellent way to support healthy eating. You add less crap to your food, it costs less, which means you can reinvest that money to buy better ingredients, improving your health even more. It's great, as long as you're actually doing it. And that was the hiccup for my wife and I. And it's not as though I don't actually like cooking. I love to cook. But we were still eating out a lot more than we should have. What it turned out was that instead of trying to use willpower to force myself to cook a great healthy meal every night, I had to go one step more removed and create a different support habit. My wife and I had both become lazy about keeping on top of the dishes. I was working a long hour with a varied shift, and she was at home with our young baby daughter. Neither of us were getting enough sleep, and we were both exhausted, so quite frankly, keeping the kitchen free of dirty dishes just did not seem like a worthwhile priority. We did want to eat healthily, but a kitchen full of dirty dishes just isn't inviting, and since we were both so tired, it was a great excuse to go out and get takeout food instead. And of course, after we ate, we would normally just crash in front of the TV or just go to bed, leaving a pile of dishes for the next day. The solution to this quite literally came to me in the middle of the night. Despite how tired I was at the time, I was having a lot of trouble sleeping. So I decided that rather than just lay there every night, if I couldn't sleep, I would get up and do something productive. And I often landed on doing the dishes. The next day, without any dishes to do, breakfast was a lot easier to make, and I'd even have time to clean the new dishes before I went to work. Which meant that when I got home from work, I'd come across a nice clean kitchen, and the idea of cooking a great healthy meal wasn't so daunting anymore. And this started my wife and I on the journey that reclaimed our health. The weirdest thing is that this isn't even the only way that washing the dishes improved my health. One of the cool things about a lot of support habits is that they support multiple different valuable behaviors. So for me, since there was less to do in the morning, I was able to set my alarm a little bit later. And since I knew that the morning was going to be a bit more relaxed, I wasn't feeling so stressed that night, and as long as the dishes were done by the time I got into bed, I fell asleep quite easily. This meant that I was getting more sleep at both ends of the night, and I was a lot less tired and a lot healthier. Speaking of sleep, this brings up one of the most powerful aspects of working on your support habits. It allows you to make changes that would be impossible to do directly. Sleep is a prime example of this. There is no way for you to directly improve your sleep quality because you're unconscious while you do it. Instead, you have to work on it indirectly while you're awake by making changes or with behaviors that have an effect on your sleep quality later. If you've watched any of my sleep tip videos, you will notice that very few of these tips produce any value in and of themselves. It's only in their supporting role that they produce any benefits. So for any behavior that you are finding difficult to cultivate, you should look into what other behaviors you can adopt that will remove the obstacles in your way. And if you find any of these behaviors difficult, go deeper and do it again and again until you find something that is easy. Even if it is something that seems as mundane and valueless as doing the dishes, the cascade effect it can have going up the chain can be life altering. So now that you know about the value of support habits, what behavior that you previously thought was unimportant will you work on today? Let me know in the comments below. And if you liked this video and found it useful, please give me a thumbs up and hit subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos. See you next time.